Hello. Welcome to the stream. So today we're going to hop into learning how to make a game host or landowner control the players in the experience by teleporting them or allocating them to a team or giving them a certain role, that sort of thing. I have given hints on how to do this in the previous streams with the other mechanics I have shown. We're going to expand on it and probably create a team-based game where you can collect coins and have different totals for the team 1 and team 2 and see all of that in action. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today, guys. Good to see you all. And yeah, we'll hop straight in. Just making sure all my resource heavy applications are closed, and we'll dig straight in. Alright, so the first thing we want to do here is create different teams that we want to control. We could do team 1, team 2, team 3, that sort of thing, or we can give everybody individual tags. If we want to control specific players, we need to have 20 different teams, 20 different tags. But if we want to just control everybody in team 1 and everybody in team 2, you could do that separately as well. But let's dig in. So this one here, we have maximum of 20 players per experience. So we're going to assign a team. The maximum we can assign the minimum we can assign a team is 3, but if we have 20 avatar portals, it will only assign 1 per team. That's one way to do it, but we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll just add tags and we'll add a team. So one player will join, and we can change the volume size to 0 so they spawn exactly on the avatar portal. Cool. We'll press Control D, and this one here will be 2 with tag 2, and we do Control D, and we're going to do 3 with tag 3, duplicate. We're going to do 4 with tag 4, and 5 with tag 5. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate all of them at once, and we're just going to go ahead and add the numbers for each one. So we've got 6, 7, 8 with tag 8. Then we have team 9 with tag 9 and team 10 with tag 10. Now we go ahead and duplicate all of these, and we will go ahead and create the teams and tags we need for each individual player. As soon as a player joins, they'll be allocated one of these teams that aren't yet occupied. They usually spawn in order, and they will have an individual tag which we can then use to control that player in a certain way. And I'll show you how. You need to use the rule system, and I'm going to use something in a rule system that I haven't used before and see if it works as I have planned in my head, and that might add some ease to what I'm trying to do, or when you're trying to select a specific player. Alright, so we have our 20 avatar portals. I'm going to go ahead and click the snap tool, and what we're going to do is just put all of these portals on top of each other so everyone spawns in the same spot, and we don't have to worry about using up all this grid space just for the avatar portals. And you can move them all at once. The only issue is if you want to pull out a specific one, you're going to have to dig through or name them individually so you can find it easily in a hierarchy for the specific one that you're trying to look for. but I'm not going to go through the naming conventions today. But if you did want to do it, you just click here, see that it's team 1, and you just go ahead and and just put team 1, or just 1 at the end, so you know it's for team 1. And generally these are in order, numbered order, but it doesn't look like it's the case. So, and then yeah, you can individually find which one that you want based on your naming conventions, but we don't have to worry about that today. All right, we're going to just bring them near the edge of the map. You can make this invisible, so the portals are never seen. I'm just going to go ahead and save that, and then we'll do the next part. The next part is going to be add in a speaker, which would then detect the tag, and when a tag is detected, it will send a message to the rule system. The rule system, I'm going to try to apply a variable where a name can be allocated to a variable, but it might be better if it was a local, and we'll play around with it, see what happens. All right, we're going to get our numpad out, because I find it easiest to apply logic in a simple little square asset. And this is culture, so I've just added it to the general asset that I always pick. We can do speaker, or you can do volume. Whoops, I got behavior selected, it's a component. So volume is less resource heavy. If you want to do a detection, so you can see the performance impact is low, which allows you to do unlimited volumes. Whereas if you did a speaker, the impact is also low, but the max amount recommended is 76. So there would be more resources being used for a speaker than it would be using a volume. And if we're just using it for detection, this will do. So as soon as the player loads in, they will be inside this yellow ring, and we can send a message. We can do every avatar in range, or we can do specific tags in range. And this one here, we can do like 1, and then we can say player 1. And that player 1 can go to the rules, and you just do that for all 20 of them. But let's set up just the player 1. So we'll go to our rule system, and we'll create a variable, and that variable will be player 1 or player number. And we can do a local, and that will be where we allocate the player number. So we can go to rules, we can do replace variable values, and we can set number value, and this is where we can set the player number. So we can do player number, and we add the message as an argument, so a variable will be sent with it, and the argument we want is a number, and we can just name it player number. Anything can go there, it's not an issue. And then we want to select the player number variable, and the number value we're going to put is whatever's in the message argument. So if we leave this now and go back to our volume, the enter message here is going to be player number, and the number we're going to send is number 1. So it detects tag 1, and then it will set your local number to be 1. We can also check that on a display. So what we can do here is go to rules, we're going to do an event, and the event will be on player join. And when a player joins, they're going to send a message HUD. And with the HUD, we're going to do game screen. and we're going to click HUD, and HUD will be the message that gets sent to the game screen. And here we can then set variables we want players to see as soon as they join the experience. So we'll set a variable in the top left corner of the HUD, and the variable we want to display is the player number. And we can go ahead and put a name for it, so players will know what they're looking at. And we'll move this down perfectly. So now we can save this, and when we test the game, we should have a HUD pop up, and it will have the player's number. Okay, so let's test that out. So you can see now I have joined the game. I started on portal number 1, so it's given me a tag number 1, and because it's detecting for tag number 1, when it detects it, it will send a variable to the rules to allocate the player number to 1. If I test it again, it's going to spawn me on portal 2. Portal 2 gives me a tag number 2, and you can see my player number is 0 because we haven't allocated a number to the player, because we haven't detected for the tag number 2 to send a variable number 2 to the rule system. So all you need to do here is basically duplicate this asset, change the tag detection to 2, and the number we want to send is 2. We can duplicate that asset and change the player number and detection tag to 3 and 3. So now when I do a test, it's going to spawn me on portal number 3. This is the third play test we're doing, and you can see it's allocated our local variable to be number 3. And basically you want to do this for all the numbers for all the avatar portals that you do have, which will be 20 of them. So each player that joins the experience will have their individual tag, which will then allocate an individual local variable for that player. And we can use things to bring that player into certain areas or trigger a certain player based on an asker. So a game host can take a certain player with a certain variable and do various things with message systems. So we'll go through all that once we set it up. So we'll just do 10 for now. We will finish that off later, but we don't have the need to do all of it right now. So we're going ahead and added 10 variables. I'll go ahead and save that. The next thing I want to test as well is there is a new rule in 0.10 where you can allocate players' names. So I want to explore that and see what we can do with it. So can we have something that the player who's the game host can see the name of the player rather than the number that's allocated to them, and then trying to see who's that number. Yeah, so we'll play around with that and see if that's possible. But we have here set player name. Now, I don't know if we should just use the local and check the local. We'll probably do that and see if that's possible. So we'll say do HUD, and we'll go ahead and add a local name, and a value of the name will be the name. So go ahead and create. Maybe we need to do a message argument, or would it just go ahead and give a name? I'm going to go ahead and display that on my HUD system and see what happens. So if I now test the experience, I should be player number 4. And you can see the name has my name now. So Cyber Dragon Games has popped up as a nameplate for a local variable. Cool. All right, so we'll go ahead and just plan this out, and we'll add a section for the host and see if we can use those local variables to display that information out here in this editor. So let's go ahead and make this invisible and no collisions. And what we want to do here is have a volume, and we'll make that volume just cover this green square. So we'll make it a box detection. We'll just make it 1 by 1 by 1. And if you have your asset directly in the middle of a cross, then you'll see it covers a 2 by 2 square with this detection area. With that, we want to see the message will need to be sent to the rule system, and we want to make it so we can see who is player 1 when we're in player 1, who is player 2 when we're in box 2. So yeah, we'll see what we can do with that one. And we can say check player 1, and that will go to the rule system. And we could probably have a message argument which will then change the HUD of the player, but let's have a look. Check player 1, that will go to the rules. What we need to do here is a comparison, and we probably don't need a comparison in this one. Let's try. We can probably set text value. We'll have that as a message argument. And we got a local variable, but we want it to be a global, I'd say. So let's go ahead and make this a global. Global text 1. We don't need to have a value. We're going to go ahead and make that value from a message argument. I think something like that will work. But what we can do here is we can check player 1, and what we want to do is compare. See, we don't want to compare the local player, we want to compare a global, because if we do a local, we can't check other players' numbers, local numbers, so there needs to be a global somewhere. Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see us. So what we need here is something to convert a local text into a global text so it displays, I guess. Let's try. So this is number here, so player number. If player number local, see it requires a local. So what we can do instead is we will have a text. We already have global text, right? So what we can do here is not compare numbers. Yeah, actually we do. We actually have to compare numbers. So that means we will need a global number as well. So the number to compare, we want to, what do we want to set? So we can set number value and then set player name. Okay, so we'll say, how can I do this? we want to check a number, which will be player 1, and we want to set the player 1 their local name into a global name. I don't know if that's possible, but what we can do is check player 1, and what we want to do is set number value, and what we can do with that is say check player 1, and we can set our global number to be the value of the local number, maybe. So whatever the player, because the player's 1 tag is always local, so we need to, but to convert it from local to global, the player needs to actively do that. So what I can do, this one's going to be a little tricky. Maybe I do need a variable for each player, which will exceed the maximum amount, so it probably won't work. Because what we have here is when the player joins, the name is shown straight away, and that's a local variable. So that one there is going to the local name. But can we make that local into a global? Can we have someone else display someone else's local? I don't think that's possible. So if we go into a volume, can we say who is player 1, or do we need player 1 to always be? Okay, let's have a look. So player number is the message we need to use. So what we can do is, so we set number value of player number, and player number is local. And what we can do here is, so we don't have an individual message system. So if it's number 4, so maybe a message argument doesn't work in this case. I'll go ahead and move it out of the way, and we're going to begin again. But what we're going to do here is do our original message, which is player 1, and it's going to detect for tag 1. I'll go ahead and delete this, duplicate, and we're going to have an individual message. So it's going to detect 2, and we're going to do player 2. So that way we're not using a message argument, we're using individual messages. Now when we come here, we can do player 1, and the player 1's local variable will be the fixed value of 1. What we can also do is duplicate this, and we can have our global number to also be 1. But we could also just have individual text. So never really tried this before, so I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we're going to play around with it and see if we can work something out. So we have player 1 join, they've got a player number and a global number, and they're both set to 1. It also has a player name that is local. We could have a global player name as well, which then can be brought up. It would be nice to convert that player's local into a global to save resources, but I don't think that is possible either, because you need a player's action to trigger a local. So what we could do here is have a text, and this one here could be player 1, and that will be global. And when the player joins, we don't have to set number, but we can set text value, and we say player 1. Our player 1 global text will be the value of, is it set text, or if it's set player name? I think this one might work. Set player name to player 1, which is a global text. I think that's the way to do it. We could have a number, but this one works as well. Something like this. So let's say player 1 joins, they've got a local number, they've got a global number, and they've got a global player name. So we'll go ahead and delete these ones. And what we can do here is duplicate these, and we could do player 2. And what we want here is a text variable for player 2. And we go ahead and select that. We also need, we only need one local number, but then there's a global number as well. We don't need a global number because, or maybe we do. Because we got tags on the players, so we don't really need the global number. But let's see if we can work out if this works. So now we got player 1, player 2, which has text for global 1 and text for global 2. Next we can select a bottom one here, which will be the global text. And we'll call that player selected. And what we want to do is over here is check player 1. And what we can do here is probably send that message, which is set text value. And we can say check player 1. And we want our global text to equal the variable of player 1 global text. So this is the way to do it, I think. So we duplicate that, and we could do check player 2, and we can check global text to be the value of player 2. And I think that will do. So we've got our global text. We don't have our use for our global number yet, but we can go ahead and duplicate this. And we could do player 3. And we set the value 3 and 3. And we can set player 3 here, and we can go ahead and give a new global variable for player 3. And player 3 is now selected. It does say message needed, so we're going to have to play around with that and see if it works. And then we'll go ahead here and do check player 3. And we'll make our global text equal the variable of player 3. So player 1, player 2, player 3. We'll go ahead and do that for this one. So check player 1, we'll duplicate. We can do here check player 2, duplicate, check player 3, and we'll do one more. And we can do check player 4. Now we do have a few portals up to 20, so we can probably delete a lot of them for the sakes of just testing instead of trying to do 20 for each one. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll say this one's player 4. And we have 4. Cool. And we'll go ahead and start deleting most of these portals. Actually, I'll delete all of them except for this one. And we'll just go ahead and copy this 4 times. Just for the sakes of testing, instead of trying to do 20 different variables just to get testing working, we'll just do 4. Alrighty. So now if I press tab. Hey Tempest Studios, thanks for the raid. Welcome everyone. So now you can see we have player number 1 and we have our name on our local variable. When we walk into these squares, you can see at the bottom nothing is happening. But if we go to the first one, you can see it's showing my name because it is checking the global variable and then it's switching the local text into global text so I can see who's player 1. So instead of tracking the players with numbers, I can have things on the ground here which allow me to see which player I can control. So if someone else is in this area as a game controller, they can go into one of these squares to select a different player to be able to control their teleport, assign them a team, that sort of thing. So I'll go ahead and make the 4th player kick in. Player 4, player 4, and one more of these. And we'll just go ahead and basically do the same thing above, but just change all the values to 4. So now if I rejoin the game, my player number should be 2 or 3. So when I go into first and second square, nothing happens. When I go into the third square, you can see it's bringing up my name now. To let me or whoever is in control of the game to know player 3 is Cyber Dragon and player 4 and 2 and 1 will be someone else, and other names will pop up as players join. Cool. So we're going to change these assets now because we want to interact with them. So you want something that's that covers that whole square, so when you press E it's easy to select. I use my column asset because it's a good size for interactions. This one here. Perfect. Go ahead and make that invisible, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a message broadcaster. Edit the logic. We want to wait before broadcast, and we want interact. So the player needs to press E in order to interact with this. We can then send a message that probably need to be individual in this case, or we could be a bit tricky. Instead of having each individual message, we can have a toggle, but yes. Okay. All right, so here we got interact, and we can say P1 for player 1 menu. And the next one here, player 2 menu. Over here, player 3 menu. And this one here is player 4 menu. We also need to have a asker for each one of these. So what we can do is just add asker behavior. And these are the askers that get triggered when we interact with these columns. So we can say player 1, what would you like to do? Alright, and we can say TP or teleport player 2, and then you can say like battle. You can allocate to team blue, allocate to team red, or maybe kill player. So these are things that you could do to your chosen player on the map. So we can then go ahead and send a message. So TP player 1 battle. P1 equals blue. P1 equals red. And this one is kill P1. Something like that, right? We can go ahead and duplicate that, make that invisible, no collisions, Control D, and you just change that from P1 to P2 menu, player 2, and then you can go ahead and do individual messages for that. If you're going to do 20 players, you don't want to have individual messages for all of them, and then you may need to change them or customize it. There are other ways to do things, such as walking into this volume, check player 1, could turn on a toggle. So that way these messages could all be the same, but it will only send it to the ones that are toggled on based on where you're standing. That's just another way of doing things, just so you know. You don't have to do it this way. But sometimes if you don't have that many to do, you don't have to think about those processes. Alright, I'll duplicate again. This one here is going to be P3 menu. And this one here will be player 3. And we're going to TP player 3 battle. P3 equals blue. And P3 equals red. And we'll kill player 3. And duplicate. And player 4 and P4 menu, and TP P4 battle, P4 equals blue, and kill P4. So if you had 20 allocations with 20 teams and 20 tags, you'll need to do this 20 times, right? So you got the individual messages for each player, so that way when you action your tag, that it's going to do it to the individual player that you want. So here we got TP P1 battle. So if we go ahead and duplicate this with Control D, what we want to do here is have a volume trigger. And this volume should cover the whole map. So we'll just do 50 by 50, just so it covers the whole map. And when it detects a tag, which is tag 1, it can send a message like TP P1 T1 battle go. So it will send that message to the triggering actor, and what you can do here is duplicate with Control D and just say this is the battlefield over here. You want a teleport, and TP1, we will select this asset, and a message to teleport the player is TP P1 battle go. TP for teleport player battle go. And we can do instant teleportation. And we need to bring this out, and we also need to kill it when we're finished. So we're going to add a plant, and what we can do here is we can send a message when teleport is finished. So we can say kill TP kill TP1. So when the player gets teleported, they'll send out a message to kill TP1. That should be sent to all, and that will come over back to the trigger volume that triggered the TP, and we can kill it off. And what we do is TP1 trigger, and we go ahead and save that as a preset. Okay, so these settings are now saved to this asset, and what we can do now is put down a new asset, which is our asset spawner. And what we want to do is trigger this asset spawner with tp.p1.battle. And what we want to bring out is a preset, and that preset is our trigger. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that, and we can test this out and see if it works. Saving, check in chat. Hey everyone, Dan Coy says, if we have more than one player entering through the same spawn point, can I create a G counter and limit the entry? Maybe allocate the next one in a matchmaking in case someone leaves? Not too sure on that one. Looks like it needs thought and process. I guess if a player leaves, it should open up that portal for someone else to join. I don't know if 2 will override a checkpoint after 20 have joined, but if you have 20 players join and then the 21st player comes in after someone leaves, do they go back to being assigned player 1, or do they get assigned the team that is currently empty? Not too sure how that process works, but it's a good problem to have if you have that many players on your experience at once. Something that you'll need to dive into and test out. Alright, so if I go ahead and test this out, and I'm player 4, and I go over here and I press E, and I say teleport player to battle. It's brought out the asset, but it doesn't trigger my teleport because I'm player 4. But if I rejoin, I should be player 1, as everything cycles. So now you can see I'm player 1. So we'll do the exact same thing, where we want to teleport player to battle, and you can see I've been teleported to battle. But if that's because I'm tag 1. But if you had just a game master here, walled off, and only one person can control it, you can see at the bottom who I want to control, which is this player. And then you can do actions based for that player. So you can kill a player, or assign them a different team, or teleport them into battle. So that is the first step. Let's see if we can assign them a team. So we can, well, these are all the settings for the first lot that I just did. And then we can say team. So we'll have text, team red, and the value will be red, or it could just be team. Should it be local or global? I don't know if that works. So it might need to be a local variable if we're going to do a team, maybe. Alright, so we've got team red, create. So we've got our local variable, we've got our team. So with player 1, there could be instantly team red, so we can go ahead here and text variable here will be so what we can do here is we can define the team here. So we go message broadcaster, and what we can do here is wait for message. That message will be player 1 that gets sent with the volume, and from there we can trigger team, and we can make that text, and we can say team and create, and we can say team blue for this case, right? So they're team blue when the player joins, and when player 1 is joining, they're always going to be team blue. So you can come over here and say when a message team is sent, the variable is going to be maybe the local one. No, that's set player name, so that's not going to work. Rules, set text value. The value is going to be team for the local variable, which is the message argument. Alright, so that's this one here. So when a player joins, the message gets sent to the rules, and it will allocate them to the team, and the team will be displayed. You could do this and then change that team later. So go ahead and add a message argument, sorry, a message broadcaster, and then add team. And now we need to go in there and do it individually. So this one, team will be player 2 will be team red, and we need a message player 2 to be sent to itself. Player 3 can be team blue, and the message required would be player 3. And this one here can be red as well, so you can have evens be red and odd be blue. And this one here will be player 4. Okay, so now I'll save that and test it. When I join now, depending on my player number, it will give me a team allocation. Okay, so if I press tab, I'm player 2 and I'm team red. And now if I join again, I should be player 3 and team blue. Yep, perfect. And you can see at the bottom, it triggers for player 3 over here. Easy, easy. All right, so next, what we want to do is change, to give the ability to change player from blue to red. or kill them off. So next we're going to do is player 1. So what we'll do is we'll bring out our previous preset, which has our volume and our plant. And what we can do here is we can assign a different team. So it's going to detect a tag 1, and the message we want to send is team, and that team will be blue. And then we can kill it off with a different message. I will think about this one. So maybe kill team volume. So we'll kill a team volume after the message team is sent. Team blue. So we can go here and say player 1 is player 1 team blue. And we'll go ahead and save that as a preset. And next we want to make this team red. And all of this can be the same. It's just the word red that gets changed. And we can change this to team red, and we'll save this as a preset as well. Okay. So far so good. And we need something that will kill this, which is kill team volume. So we can go ahead and get a timer. And we'll wait for message, and that message is going to be team. And after that, after 1 second, it will kill team volume. So that way it removes them from existence after they're used. And this can stay out the whole time. And this one here will be universal, so we'll keep that over here. We don't need to change anything else on it, I believe. Alright, so here we have our message that we go to P1. Our P1 comes over here, and then we have P1 equals blue and P1 equals red. So what we need now is a message to be sent to an asset spawner. So this one here will be P1 equals blue. And what we want to bring out is the team blue. And we can duplicate. And what we can do here is P1 equals red. And what we're going to do is bring out the red one. And that should change the team from blue to red. And then we can do one more for the kill command. So the kill command, you can send them back to the base if they're in a battle, that sort of thing. You could control that with checkpoints. So if you kill a player, they will go back to the previous checkpoint. So if on the battlefield there is no checkpoints and you decide to kill them, they'll go back to their avatar spawner, and you can block that off and make that like a lobby area or a spectate area that they can't leave unless the game host teleports them and assigns them something. So that's one thing. I'll go ahead and do that in a sec. Okay. I'll bring out a volume that we've already used. And here again, we can do plant, or something that gets sent after the player is teleported. Kill plant, something like that. And we want to kill the player. So specific tags, it will detect. We want to do it for triggering actor. And the message will be the kill message. So if we go to health on the avatar portal, the instant death message is kill. So hopefully this will only work for the individual that triggered it. So kill to trigger an actor. Then we can say here kill player 1. Okay, and then we just need an asset spawner to bring out that, which is the message. I think it's just kill.p1. I think that's what gets sent here. Yes, it is. Cool. And we'll go ahead and kill p1. All right, I'll go ahead and save that. We can only test it with me being player 1. Okay, so we'll press tab until we are player 1. So we're player 4, we're team bread. And you can see here it's detecting for player 4 but not for player 1 because no one's allocated player 1. Now we are, and you can see we're team blue. If we press tab and say allocate to team red, you can see now our team is red, and we can go ahead and allocate to team blue again. We can teleport player to battle. So we want to probably teleport them to the right side of the map. So if they're team blue, go over here. If they're team red, go over here. And if we kill the player, it should kill the player and send them back to the spectator area. Cool. Everything is working as intended so far. Now you do need to create duplicates of this for each of the players. So this one here will be, you know, player 2 stuff. So you need to go here and change TPP1 to TP2. So P1 equals blue, so P2 equals blue, P2 equals red, and kill P2. And then you just need to change the presets for each one. So good thing to do is, so we've got the first one, which is player 1 trigger, then we got team blue, then we got team red, and then we've got kill player. And all you do here is we change 1 to 2, and we want to trigger player 2, not player 1, so we're going to change the tag to 2. We want to TP P2 battle go. There's a caps lock thing, but that's okay, we'll keep that in mind. Did it again, kill TP2, and you just save that as a new preset for player 2, delete it, and then bring it out here. And you do the same with this one. So team blue will be blue. We want it for tag 2. We can keep that the same. And that's all it is. We're just changing the tag. And we can go ahead and save that one as a new preset and bring that out with team 2 blue. Do the same with the red one. So we want to detect the tag 2. We change the name from P1 to P2, and we go ahead and we save that as a preset as well. Delete that and bring that out here. So team 2 is red. And the last one here is just a tag change, I believe. We want to kill them with the same message. We want it to be the triggering actor. We haven't sent a message to kill plant, but we can do that. And team 2 is what we're looking for, or tag 2 I should say. And we delete that and go ahead and do kill 2. And what we can do here is edit logic. So with the help we want to kill plant, so we can do all, and we can do kill plant. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because if a second player does it, it probably needs to be specific tags in range, and all and broadcast type should be allocated to a specific tag. So when the player dies, it sends a message kill to everyone that has the tag 2. But then again, that one is going to kill on its own because we have tag 2. So you probably want to do plant 2 to make it individual. And all you do is bring out the kill player 2, and you want to give it its unique tag, and now save over the preset. And you probably want to do the same with player 1 as well. So we'll go ahead and send a message to specific tags. We'll send it to all. We want to kill plant, and we want to send that to plant 1. Hit enter, and we'll bring out the kill player 1 volume, and we'll give it the tag plant 1, so when a player dies, it goes ahead and kills off this preset, so it's not sitting there anymore after use. Cool. Alright, now you just need to do the same for 3 and 4. Same thing, you duplicate the spawners, you bring out the preset, you change the tags from 2 to 3, and so forth and so forth. Now with the TP, right, if they're blue, we want to send them to team blue, and if they're red, we want to send them to team red. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if we can do that part. So we'll bring out a blue and a red block, just for the sakes of visually seeing team blue and red being teleported in the right areas. Alright, so this one is TP1. And we can probably allocate this to red and blue with toggles, or maybe because this one here is using the same message, so we'll probably need to split that message up. So we got TP1 battle go, but if it's blue, we want it to go over here, and if it's red, we want it to go over here. So that way they are in their exact team that they should be, and we should be able to change the teams here, and then when we teleport them, they go to the right side. So that's what we are aiming to do. So let's go to the TP side of things. And what we can do here is we probably don't need the individual message teleporting system. What we can do here is we can say tp.p1.battle, which then brings out this preset here, which is the trigger. So we'll go ahead and bring out our teleport 1 trigger. And the message we're looking for is the tag 1, and it's sending a message TP1 battle go. We'll go ahead and bring up our rule system. And what we can do here is we can do a comparison. And we could possibly compare to see if they're team blue or team red. So what we can do is say tp.player1.battle.go, and what we're going to do is we're going to check. So this one here is going to check for numbers. I don't know if we can do individual numbers. Maybe we can do player number, or we can change the player number based on the message. So what we could do here is probably do another number, make it local, and it will be like check team. So we'll go ahead and check team, and if it equals to 1, it's TP blue, and we'll duplicate that, and if it's 2, we can TP red. Okay, so that message comes out of the message broadcaster, so the asset spawner, and then it goes to the rules because it's doing a detection. Then it's going to check team. So what we had before is sending a message when the volume comes out. So we can go ahead and delete that. So we had P1 blue and P1 red. So this one here sends a message team blue, and this one here sends a message team red. So what we need now is a different message argument. So we need a variable to go with this as well, other than just the text. So we're going to have to recreate the message argument and save over the presets again. So this is why it's good to do a small sample before you do it to all your game, just to make sure you have everything that you need. So we've got team data, and we're going to add our text, team, and we're going to go ahead and add a number. Okay, so this one now is going to be blue, and we're going to have the number 1, and we're going to go ahead and save this one over the existing preset. And we'll delete that, and this one here is going to be team data. This is going to be red with number 2. So team data will send the message red and also allocate the number that's there as well. So I'll go ahead and save that as red. Cool. We'll go back to our rules because we got here team, but now we want team data. So we're going to set the text value of the team data variable team, which is local, but we also want to set number value for team data, and that team data will be the team check, and it'll be whatever the message argument is. Now that we do that, we can now check the team to see if it equals 1. If it equals 1, it's a blue team, and if it equals 2, it's the red team. So now we can send these messages over here, and we can see TP blue, and it'll bring out the message to bring out the detection to kill player 1 and bring them over here. And if we duplicate this and bring it over here, we can do TP red. And again, it will TP the player over to the red side if they're red. There'll need to be more in it because there's player 1, player 2, player 3, and all that. So you'll still need to do more comparisons within comparisons. But let's quickly check this out. So I'm player 2, I'm team red. We're going to change it to in and out until we're at player 1. So this should be player 4. And now we're player 1. Alright, so as player 1 we should be, okay, we're team red. If I go ahead and say teleport to the battle, it didn't kill me. Now if I do teleport to team, allocate to team blue, that worked. Teleport to battle, and it's teleported me to the blue side. Let's see if I can switch that back to red and teleport. It's gone back to the blue side, so it's not going as planned. Maybe I didn't save over the preset. Let's check that out. It did work to the blue side, which is great. We just need to make sure it goes to the red side, so let's check the red team. So this one here is team 2, team data. So all of that is happening. It's checking for tag 1. It's going into the rule system. It's checking to see if it equals 2, then it TPs red, and if it's 1, it TPs blue. So we got the comparison correct. We got the team data correct. It checks team. It checks to see if it's team 2. It is number 2. It should be sending. So TP red is over here. And here it's TP1. So if I go to so this is the issue. TP1 red. So it needs its own teleport destination. And this one here is TP1 blue. So now it's got its own individual . Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and delete team 3 and just keep team 1 for the sakes of testing. But you can see now that it cycles through team blue, team red. So we are now team 1. It says that we're team red, although it should be team blue. So let me just go ahead and check why it's going to red. So we've got team blue here. Team blue. For player 1, it detects tag 1. Detects tag 1, tag 1. So let's see what this is. Team 2, and it's detecting tag 2. So it shouldn't be going to team red. Oh wait, this thing is out and about. That's what it was. Okay, I had a loose volume. It's still saying team red. Alright, let's see what happens if it TPs me to battle. Nothing happens. So team red for some reason is not triggering. I must have a mistake somewhere, because team blue is working. And team red is working. Okay, so it does work. So here now we can allocate a player to team blue and team red, and then teleport them into battle. So if I want to send this player to team blue, it will allocate them to blue, and then I can allocate them to the battlefield by teleporting them with the tag. If I don't like them being on team blue, I can go ahead and kill the player. It will bring them back to the spectator area, and then I can assign them a new team or kill them off and put them back into a battlefield. And you can see the player selected at the bottom. So each player that I move into the next area will tell me who this controller will control. And then I can move players around the battlefield, assign them a specific team, and then teleport them to that area based on the team that they are. This is a very basic concept. You can go very deep with this. It does get a bit complicated, especially when you want to deal with 20 variables or 20 sets of rules associated with that. You will need to be careful with your messages and your tags. You want to simplify how you bring these out and all that sort of stuff. I do want to make this a multi-part stream, so next week I'll dig deeper into the logic and make it a bit more functional. But I just wanted to see if we can do the basics like this, have the player's name selected, see if we can allocate local and global variables and do controlling that way. I'm not feeling the best right now, so I'm going to cut the stream short and leave you guys with this. Hopefully you did learn a little bit or have some sort of inspiration on how you can make team-based games. Next week I will increase on this logic and add like coin collection and have team scores and things like that as well. So when you allocate someone to play blue and they collect coins, it will go to the blue total. If you switch them to the red team and they collect coins, it will start allocating the coins collected to the red score. Things of that nature. But yeah, I do apologize. I did want to do a stream a bit longer, but yeah, something's not right with me at this stage. But thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye bye.